Hello, my friends, and welcome to Italy, a place to love YouTube channel, the channel where I like to talk about the good, the bad, and I have a new expression thanks to one of my subscriber, and the in between. So the good, the bad, and the in between. So all we have to know about Italy. All right, so let's start today's video, and today's video is about Italian language, okay? And so I found an interesting post on Facebook on the group Expats Living in Italy. I will share this post on my Facebook group, which is Italy, a place to love Facebook group. You are welcome to join if you follow the channel, if you have Facebook. If you don't, maybe one day I will have an Instagram or other socials like that. Anyway, so let's start the video. Please put like, subscribe, press the bell, hype the video, and do whatever you can to support my channel. All right, so let's enter. This is I worry this might be a long video, simply because this post had more than 500 replies. So I'm not gonna read them all, but so let's start. Why do so many people seem to not learn Italian before moving there? So why many expats or many foreigners, they don't learn Italian before moving to Italy? This is a very legitimate question, but so I believe people have different reasons, and we'll see now. Now, because I didn't read all the messages, I might make some mistakes while I'm reading, but so let's see. Because they think English works also in Italy, which is not the case. All right, so let's start from this. Obviously, a lot of people in the world think that English might work as well in Italy. It should. It should. This is what Italy, a place to love, repeats, what Antonio repeats, that it should, because nowadays every civilized country, at least people are speaking two languages. Simple as easy. And if not people, at least all the institutions, they shouldn't employ anyone who doesn't speak properly a second language. Which is not the case. In Italy, it's not the case. People are barely speaking Italian. All right, then. Time consuming, lack of discipline. I don't get this. It's okay if you go on holiday to a resort, but don't be fooled in the surrounding towns. Okay, because they think they will pick it up easily when they move there. That's not the case either. È difficilissima. So this is an interesting comment, because anyway, it's normal to think a full immersion, there will be a full immersion once I move into the country, but then people realize that it's quite difficult, and here it says in Italian, è difficilissima, very difficult, difficilissima. And someone say, è difficilissimo, someone correct. But anyway, è difficilissimo imparare l'italiano, è difficilissima la lingua italiana. You see, female, in Italian we have male and female, so in our case, both my husband and I speak several languages, but we simply don't have the time to study another one with work and kids, schedules, and so on. We do try to study phrases and words daily, but it's not the same as becoming fluent, obviously. So we are looking forward to a time we can slow down and immerse ourselves. So these are not living in Italy. They are planning to probably to move, and I guess they will try to learn Italian once they move. But for me, it's the best option anyway. In my opinion, I'd say it's possible to move to one country without knowing the language. Many don't bother years after moving here. And I think these are the best. Why you should bother? Anyway, if you can live, if you are able to do your daily routines, your even with English, anyway, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. It's also the company you keep. A lot of us mingle with others like us. This slows the learning process as well. Obviously, if you are surrounded by other expats, it might slow the process of learning the language. That's obvious, you know. The more you immerse yourself with the locals, if they speak Italian, the more you're gonna learn Italian. Um, it's not that much different than the number of people who move to other countries. For example, I live in the US and don't speak English. So it's true. I know many people who move to United States and don't speak English personally, but I know also that there are huge communities in the United States who don't speak English. Actually, it seems like, if I'm not wrong, the second language, the most spoken language in the US is Spanish, and a lot of the Spanish community don't speak English. I want to be fluent before I move to Italy for a lot of reasons. Yeah. Then, if you have a chance to live a better life in Italy, why wait? And data shows the language learning curve is better under full immersion. So it's arguably smarter to move to Italy before you speak the language. I totally agree. For me, it's better a full immersion, and then slowly, uh, I will learn. You will start catching. It takes time. You know, the younger we are, generally, the younger we are, the faster we learn with the aging, you know, it makes difficult. It's like for me when I went 2 months in my wife native country, and I don't speak that language, but each time I go I learn new things. You know, if I would stay there, basically it might take maybe 2 3 years, maybe to become fluent, even more than three. We are talking about becoming fluent, but at one stage, if you are practicing, if you're learning, if you're reading, if you're watching television, if you're listening, then you'll become fluent. So there's nothing to get scared from not learning the language. My Italian father-in-law lived in Toronto, Ontario, Canada for 60 years and never learned to speak English. Exactly. As many Italians that moved to United States, and believe me, they never learn, maybe they learned the basics, let's say, but they never became fluent, let's say. Well, I'm strange that way. I live in Portugal today, but selling and moving to Italy next year. That's interesting because, anyway, I know Portugal. Uh, from certain point of view, Portugal is better than Italy. I know that there are a lot of people complaining about Italy, and a lot of people are moving to Portugal or Spain instead of Italy. But this one is doing the opposite, the reverse. So he's moving from Portugal to Italy, probably disappointed with Portugal. I don't know. I don't know Portugal. I mean, as far as I never been there, as far as I know, it's a beautiful country. I met many Portuguese in my life, and for sure, one day I will go. I will visit. I'm curious myself. One day. I speak some Portuguese, and my native language is Latin Germanic. I don't know what do they mean by Latin Germanic. If you know, explain me. So it's easier for me to learn than English speaking people. So this person is saying that for him, it's faster, easier to learn Italian than English speaking people. Don't know why. Anyway, maybe because it's Latin Germanic, that I don't know what it means. Probably because learn a bit of Portuguese, which for me, Portuguese, even if it's a Latin language, I find very, very hard to understand. I'm trying to learn, but I learn best by listening and reading the local papers. Exactly. Reading and listening when you are in the place is the best way to learn the language. Easier to learn while living there. Exactly. That's why people, you see, I should make this point because I promised to some of my followers that I would have given Italian classes. All right, now I'm not late. I'm more than late than my plan was. I'm still trying to schedule to find the time, to organize these classes, to contact back who sent me the email. If you are watching the video today, forgive me, please, but I promise I'm still trying to schedule to find the time to organize these classes. Brexit forced me to move before my planned time. So some people say I had to move sooner than I meant. So basically, I didn't have the time to learn. Again, with the classes, I'd say it could be interesting. It could be important, to have some classes with a native speaker. That's why, anyway, I would recommend in the future, if I'm able to schedule my timetable, then for sure, if you're interested, anyway, we'll find out the way to organize some classes. Same reason a lot of people move to America without learning English. Exactly. I mean, it's not necessary for me to learn the language before we move. It's not to motivate you to move, but for sure you're gonna learn. I mean, the learning process of a language is like that. Okay, when I moved to Ireland myself, I was already speaking English, wasn't at a very good level, enough to start working, to be able to find a job. But if I'm thinking about the very first time I went to an English speaking country, which so was 1994, I was 17, and I went to London for a month. And I was coming with my background, coming just from my English classes in school, which is very poor. It's extremely poor. All the Italians are complaining about the English teaching classes in the public school in Italy. Nobody learns anything. That's why a lot of Italians are going to private school to learn English, which give them results and success with the language. Public schools are a disaster. So the first time, can I tell you a joke? There was a song, but better I don't say because this song says something bad, but I didn't know the meaning of a word, and I was singing that song, and someone turned to me, what? What are you talking about? Better I don't say these words anyway, bad words. I speak 4 languages now learning Italian. Is it difficult? No. Are the people unhelpful? Also, no. True. Because people are always helpful here. Those who can, they will speak English with you. Exactly. Those who can't, they will find a way to communicate with you easily without any problem. And if you have experienced Italy already, you know very well this. So, no problems at all. There are a lot of challenges, of course, but I'm also getting better. Last time I managed to make an appuntamento in Italian on the phone without understanding who was calling, thankfully. The company sent a confirmation message afterwards. Well, don't judge me. I'm learning. Take all the time you need. I mean, again, I can move to a country even if I don't speak the language. I will keep repeating. There was an interesting comment that I roughly read. Everyone has their own unique life circumstances, and not knowing the language before moving shouldn't hold you back from exploring new places. Exactly. While speaking the language can definitely make things easier, obviously, and more rewarding for both immigrants and locals, it's also important to remember that we all have different situations. Embracing those differences can lead to wonderful experiences. Exactly. But anyway, let me make again the point that I think Italians, we are behind with English language. At this stage, in 2025, I'm gonna bang. In 2025, Italian should be double speaking languages. They should be able to speak 2 languages at least, if not 3, like everyone else, like nearly everyone else in the civilized countries of Europe. All right. So with this, yes, I'm pointing the finger to the Italians who are much behind. They should. They simply should. Then I'm not saying that, okay, you are coming, you expat or foreigner, you are coming and you have to pretend that Italians have to speak English. I'm not saying that, but Italian must, they should, they must, not they should, they must, they have to, because it's hard and uncomfortable to learn, probably not from not being in the place, because everyone is different with different possibilities, abilities, time, and needs. Exactly. Then we took classes before we came over, but not very helpful. That's what I wanted to say. Not always the classes are very helpful. They will make you just simply a bit more familiar with the sound of the language. I'm not saying that through online classes you might be able to become fluent. I'm not saying that, but that will help you to become familiar with some rules, with some, and then once you are in the place, you can practice all you have learned. Move out of necessity to be with my husband during COVID, and not because I wanted to work in English only at home, so never with anyone. I'm up north, so it's a specific dialect. German and Italian don't seem to be spoken much, and they have their own dialect. This is another issue that you might find in Italy. So, in many places, people are speaking dialect. If we go to Naples, if we go in Sicily, if we are here in Basilicata, in Apulia region, I can barely understand a conversation between two locals unless they are speaking Italian. All right, so I might say that maybe Italians are, they speak two languages, they speak dialect and Italian. I can understand the dialect because my parents always spoke the dialect, but I'm not able to speak at all. So I simply give up. Actually, I show off my northern Italian accent when I'm here. Now, in the beginning, I was a bit worrying, about my accent. Now I don't even care. I show off. This is my accent. What can I say? I'm moving to a small town where there is really no English understood or spoken. My husband is Italian, but also speaks and understands English. All right. Then I lived 6 years in Norway. Never learned Norwegian. I have severe I have severe ADHD, and I was mother of an autistic kid. She's mother of an autistic kid. Sleep deprived. It was impossible for my brain to learn it. Never judge. Exactly. The first thing, we never judge, all right? Everyone has his own possibilities and understanding of the things. But I know a lot of people who moved to Norway from Ireland. I had a lot of friends during the recession, when we had the 2008 recession, when there was no job in Ireland. A lot of people left, and few of them moved to Norway without speaking a word of Norwegian. I moved here after meeting my husband. We were together for only 5 months. I tried to learn it, didn't have the time. Then I took intensive courses here. Yes, once you are in the place, actually, as far as I know, in each town you can find places where they do classes, Italian classes for foreigners. So it's not only about learning Italian with the locals, or reading or listening the television, or watching the television, sorry. But you can also practicing, because there are courses of Italian for foreigners. Absolutely. In nearly every town you might find this, nearly everywhere. Maybe not in the very small towns, but in all the medium-sized and bigger towns, you'll find that. Actually, I know many people who moved to Italy without Italian. In particular, all these immigrants are coming from Africa. They organize for them free classes, absolutely free classes of Italian, simply because, anyway, you have to try it. It's like when, if you move, I know a lot of people who moved to Germany, and they had free German classes organized by institutions. So, because they think English is universal, in practice, is not. I mean, true, maybe there is this stereotype that from the English native countries that English is spoken everywhere, as it should. Again, as for me, it should, but in practice, it's not. So in practice, it's not. It's not. So because it's hard to learn a language when not surrounded by it. Exactly, it's very hard. If I'm trying here to learn my wife's native language, I give up. I give up. I'd say when we move there, if we move there, I'm gonna learn. I mean, obviously, I became familiar. I learn a lot of things. I can even watch some television with that, and I can catch I can catch a lot of words, but it's still not the same if I'm moving there. I know that when I move there, if I move there permanently, then I will become fluent. That's for sure. In in no less than 3 years. So I gave myself at least 3 years. So this is the time you should also give to yourself before you can become a bit fluent in the language. Then I could have already basic conversation, very basics. I could understand things again. It takes doesn't take a lot. There are the steps, about the language. In the beginning, is important to be able to speak a bit. The second step is the understanding, and then the third is to becoming fluent in speaking, and then to understand perfectly. The four steps is like passing the balls. In the beginning, speaking a bit, then following, understanding, then becoming fluent in speaking, and then fluent in the understanding. So to understand fully 100% of conversations around. It's so difficult to learn a language to an everyday speaking level without being there. Absolutely. Immersed. You have to immerse yourself. My mom and brother have both studied Italian for years, now from UK, and still can't hold a conversation because they can't keep up with listening at a native speaker's pace. That's exactly what I said. For me, at one stage in Ireland became extremely important to understand every single word of the people, of the locals, even speaking slang. I was thirsty of knowledge. So, but obviously I had already all the background, I had the knowledge. Obviously in the beginning, I remember the first few months in Ireland, even if I had already good level of English, I couldn't understand a word. Then I started making the year and so on. Once one of my managers said, Antonio, go and get a brush, take a brush. I arrived with a mop. Try to imagine. So anyway, no different than the majority of people who move to the US and don't speak English. Exactly. You will learn faster once you move there. I speak some, but not fluent. I will definitely try to take classes in the US before I move to improve, but I understand everyone does things differently. Exactly. Once you move there, you should definitely look to enroll in classes and try to become more fluent. Exactly. English speakers hardly manage their own language. Yet, imagine them learning properly a foreign language. Oh gosh, that's funny. Some of them, yes, some, but the minority, okay? I literally came to Italy to study Italian. There isn't exactly a high demand for Italian lesson in my small town um, of New York. What an odd question. I don't know. Sorry. Because they think it's easy moving to Italy without knowing the language, they will find out. Because they think it's easy moving to Italy. Exactly. They will find out. There was an interesting comment that I found before. And why do you care so much about this? Mind your own business. Mind your own business. A few reasons. I'm lazy, it's not easy, and I don't need to. I'm being honest. Exactly. Strange question. My Hungarian grandmother lived in the US for 40 years and never learned English. Exactly. Because we did not think about moving here, but life is life and everything changing fast. Um, Pity, I cannot find the message. The comment, agree, Hungarian is very difficult. My father came from Hungary. He learned English but could not read or write it though. Italian is not an easy language to learn. Immersion is the best way. Exactly. What a pity I cannot find one comment, one very interesting comment that I read before. Let's see, maybe I skip it. I don't think. Anyway, my friends, so what can I say? That obviously learning a language it's not very easy, so it takes time, but don't be scared. I mean, there's nothing to worry, okay? It's enough to do, it's enough to move, and then you'll find out. Again, having some classes, try to learn before, can help a bit, but can help maximum a 10, 20%. No more, no more. Okay, give me one more minute because it was interesting. All right, wait. I got it. I got it. I met a huge amount of Italians when I lived in Netherlands, in Holland, who lived there with zero Netherlands, with zero Dutch language skills. It's just how it is. People learn the language if they need and want, or they simply don't. Exactly. I like this message because I lived in Holland for a bit more than 6 months. Okay, I had an experience back in 2004 in Amsterdam. Beautiful experience, you know. And I remember I moved there without speaking Dutch, so I was only speaking English. I got a job with just English, so nobody forced me to learn Dutch. But at one stage, I realized that it would have been nice, you know, to start learning the language. And anyway, there are still few things, you know, that I've learned. Ik ben Antonio. Jij bent. Uh, anyway, then I was surprised, for example, to see spelled on the bus or on the metro UIT, like I am. They were reading out. So, but in the beginning, I couldn't understand. Or I remember HUIS, and they were reading house, and then I was saying, "Oh wow!" But it's quite similar to English. Okay, I'd say the way they were writing was completely different, like HUIS, but they were pronouncing house. Or anyway, MUISE, mouse, or UIT, out. I was amazed by these things, you know, when I lived. What else I've learned? Bedankt, dankjewel. These little words, I miss a bit. I miss it. All right, my friends. Anyway, with this little Dutch lesson. Anyway, if I stayed in Holland nowadays, probably I would have spoken properly Dutch. Well, I'm not because I didn't stay there. All right, my friends, I'll see you here to my next video on Italy, a Place to Love YouTube channel. And don't worry if you don't speak Italian, just move, give yourself the go. And anyway, you will learn what you need to learn. Bye. See you soon, my friends. Bye.